What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Wednesday. Here back talking some ball today. Just me today. No Yash, no Dale. But just wanted to hop on, talk some NFL Week 11. Want to rip some drafts for the week, kind of talk through the slate a little bit, and just answer any questions that anyone has. So feel free to ask any questions you guys got. Fire them off in the chat. I'll get to them throughout the stream. We're hopping in the hurry up on Underdog. For those who are new or are not in the Discord, we did take down this contest last week, so we're going to try to go back to back, win that $2,000 first place once again. What up, Frizzle? Good to see you, bro. We got the 103. Probably looking at Jamar Chase, Bijan Robinson, JSN, Puka Nakua. Here, Jamar Chase goes. That leaves us Bijan, Puka, or Jacobs, or JSN. I think I'm going to build. I might try something different here. This might seem crazy, but I'm going to go Trey McBride. You're usually not getting McBride on this side of the turn. And the way McBride is producing, he is producing like a fantasy wide receiver, not just an elite tight end. Like he's producing as an elite wide receiver option right now. And with no Marvin Harrison, I just think this is going to be a smash spot for McBride. And this is definitely a reach, but I'm just trying to do some unique stuff, maybe get some unique pairings, taking him on this side of the board because he more often is going on the turn. And then I'm going to take Justin Jefferson with my next pick. And then I got James Cook and Emeka Egbuka queued up for my next pick. That's what I'm thinking. Everyone that hops in, make sure to fire off any questions you guys got. There goes Egbuka. Unfortunately, was hoping to get him on this squad. Really love the matchup for Jefferson this week. We've been talking about it all week, but against the Bears, they're still super beat up in that secondary. It's at home for the Vikings. I think if J.J. McCarthy doesn't get there for us this week, then I'll really be out on the rest of the season. But there have been some relatively tough matchups for the Vikings the last couple weeks. I think this is really going to be that bounce back spot for Jefferson where we're going to get that performance that we've come to expect of him the last couple of years. I think this is going to be the week that we finally get the results we've been waiting for. And as an owner in a couple spots, I'm definitely hoping for it. James Cook falls to us. I'm going to go ahead and take him. The Bucs are pretty stout against the run, but they have been allowing some running backs to really get home against them. We just saw what Travion Henderson did against them. And the thing with them is they've been really struggling with like outside run sort of thing. They've been struggling with running backs through the air as well. They're really good in between the tackles, which is something that Cook may struggle with. But we know Cook is able to get outside on the edge, and that is somewhere where he could really exploit this Bucs defense. So I think this is a nice spot for Cook. We're getting a pretty good discount on here, getting him in the third round. And we know that with these contests, we're really shooting for elite ceiling, right? So if we can just get like a 20-point outing out of Cook in the third round here, that feels really good, considering guys like Jacobs are going a round and a half earlier. And usually Cook and Jacobs are kind of going in the same spot in these. All right, we're up on the clock again. A lot of the other wide receiver targets I like have already gone. This is a little bit of a risky pick, I think, but I think I'm going to pull the trigger here on Devontae Adams. Just hoping that he does end up playing. Seattle's not a great draw for him, but I was talking about this a little on stream yesterday, and that like in these really tough matchups, you do have to rely upon your best players. So I'm hoping Adams can have a good week this week if he does play. Frizzle said, should I trade Alvin, QJ, and Parker for Trey McBride? So Alvin Kamara, Quentin Johnson, Parker Washington for Trey McBride. I mean, obviously McBride's the best asset in that deal, right? I think it just depends on what your team's kind of looking like overall right now. Can you afford to take that hit to your depth? I'm going to get Herbert here. Taking him unstacked doesn't necessarily feel great, but he's the type of guy that can still get there. Maybe he rushes for a touchdown. Yeah, Frizzle, can you send a little more details on your team? Like, are you starting Alvin QJ Parker every week? If you're not, then go get McBride, dude. McBride's, you got all three of them? Yeah, dude, offer that. I as a McBride owner, I probably wouldn't take that, to be fair. If you're looking at what McBride has been producing, if we were redrafting right now, answer this in the chat. Where would you guys be redrafting Trey McBride in fantasy drafts if we redid everything? Because I think saying would be going at the 1-2 turn ultimately isn't super crazy. Like, if you were taking him where Brian Thomas was going, where Malik Neighbors was going, like, I'm sure you'd be happier with them on your team. I'm sure you're happier with Trey McBride than Ashton Genty. Kind of crazy that we were getting him in like the early third round and we were getting him almost a full round behind Bowers when McBride's really been separating these last couple weeks. It has been a pretty ideal run out for him, I will admit. So here we got to take a running back. Looking at Chase Brown, looking at Woody Marks. All these guys are kind of interesting. I think I might take Swift just on the other side of Jefferson. He is the lowest in ADP of these guys, so he has potential to be like the lowest percent drafted of this group. We're going to take Swift and round that one out. And we're going to hop in another one of these. Keep firing off those questions in the chat. Drop a like on the stream. Drop a sub. Get into all questions. Larry Bird asked, if you were trading Kittle in fantasy, what kind of return would you want to get? I'm thinking first and something small throw in. So, yeah, this is Dynasty League, obviously. I think first plus is kind of what I'd be targeting for Kittle. Honestly, if you're a competitor, I'm still fine hanging on to him. I'm not super out on Kittle. I think he definitely still has a couple years of pretty solid production left. I think if you're wanting to pivot to a younger player, you can maybe see like what the Rondé Gatson owner is thinking, what the Harold Fannin. That might be a nice way to kind of tier down from him, where you could get like a little, like, I don't know, a Rondé Gatson in the third for Kittle, or maybe I'll check the door on a Colson Loveland. Maybe offer Colson Loveland in a second for George Kittle, something like that, if you're trying to pivot off of him. Send a little more info on your team, though, Larry, and I can help you out a little better. What up, Alex? Truly Fresh TV. What up, dude? He said, should I do CD and Vidal for Pickens and Egbuka? I'm 5-5 and have Genty, Javonte, Vidal, and Henderson in my wide receiver right now. CD, Addison, Alec. I had Malik. Ooh. This is an interesting one. To be honest, upon first glance, I'm saying yes. CD is definitely the best player in this deal, but based off your team information, it seems like you are pretty shallow at wide receiver, right? I feel okay about Addison and Alec Pierce, but they're not guys that I'm like really, really wanting to plug into my lineup every week. Pickens, Egbuka, clear upgrade there. Vidal is obviously going to take a hit these next couple of games once you get Hampton back in here. And yeah, I think that's definitely going to you're not going to be starting Vidal rest of the season with that running back room. You got Genty, Javonte, and Henderson. So I think Vidal is clearly your RB4. I'm fine taking that hit at running back to upgrade that wide receiver room. What up, baby genius? Said, I'm the 1 seed in 12 team, start 11, Superflex Dynasty. Would you sell Burrow and Bucky for Josh Allen? Burrow and Bucky have elite playoff schedules. Can you send me the rest of your team? I think my instant reaction to this is I would just hold. It just feels like a little bit of a sell low on those guys. I get they're injured and Allen is an upgrade, but if you're the 1 seed, you're not really chasing wins super hard. Obviously, you want that first round bye, but if you have Burrow and Bucky coming back and you've had them out most of the season, you've already got this far, you might be better off just holding. I wouldn't want to panic and sell off of those guys, pivot to Allen, and then not even win it this year, and then Allen or Bucky and Burrow come back next year and you're regretting that move, right? Yeah. All right, we're just waiting for another draft to fill. One more spot open in this one if you guys want to draft with me. This is the hurry up draft on Underdog. We took down this contest last week, won $2,000. Going to try to go back to back, take it down this week once again. All right, this is the room. So you got Caleb, Flacco, Burrow, Gibbs, Bucky, Javonte, Woody, Monungai, Jason, Amon, St. Barra, Nico. You got a good team, dude. Yeah, I would just hold if I were you. You got Flacco in your QB2 spot until Burrow eventually does come back. He has a nice schedule rest of the season for whoever's that quarterback. Gibbs, Javonte, Woody, I think is fine enough for these next couple weeks. I feel good about Gibbs, obviously, like Javonte, and I think we're just seeing Woody slowly take over that backfield more so than down the stretch. I think Monungai is interesting too. He obviously has that huge ceiling or upside in his range of possibilities if Swift were to sustain another injury. But I think you're pretty set, honestly, man. I wouldn't make that trade just because I think you'll regret it long term. I do think Allen would give you a little bit of a better chance to win this year, but honestly, his production hasn't really been quite to the level we expect when we're taking Josh Allen where we do in fantasy. I don't think it's that much of a downgrade with Flacco, Burrow. And then if you get Bucky for your fantasy playoffs, that's also huge. The Bucs do have a pretty nice postseason schedule. So I would hold if I were you. Nice team too. Still waiting for this last spot to fill up. Make sure to fire off any fantasy questions in the chat. Join the Discord, y'all. I'll drop that link in the chat, but our Discord is 100% free to join. Always in there talking fantasy. Yeah, it's a good time. Starting to build up that community a little bit. All right, this draft has filled. Thank God. We'll pull up the draft board. And we got the 102 here, which I'm pretty excited about because that means we finally get a Jamar Chase share. I haven't got as much Jamar Chase as I would like to yet this week. Yeah, appreciate the question. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm in a similar situation in one of my leagues where I'm in a super flex. I'm the 1 seed. I guess it is a little different, but I got some guys on IR. I got Jay and Daniels and Neighbors on my IR, and I had an offer in my inbox for Patrick Mahomes and Devonta Smith. And it really had me thinking of taking it, but I felt that my team was good enough. Might as well just roll with it this year, see what I got, and I would definitely be regretting that next year if Jay and Daniels and Neighbors are coming back and balling. So, yeah, kind of similar ideology behind those type of deals. All right, we get Jamar Chase here. Finally, been wanting to get some more Jamar this week. Feels good to take him like this spot against the Steelers. Last time they played them, he was just peppered with targets. Can definitely see a similar performance from him. Then McBride goes 103, just like we did last draft. So maybe we weren't too crazy taking McBride there. Could just be an insane day for McBride with no Marv. Make sure to fire off any questions you guys got. Drop a like on the stream. Drop a sub. Would be much appreciated. We go McBride, JSN, Puka, Bijan, Josh Jacobs there. All right, we're up in 3 picks here. Looking at some guys I'm eyeing. Just took Jefferson, but obviously like him, like Ibuka. Feel okay about Allen, Lamar, Cook. There goes Jefferson. Probably good. We can get some more diversity with our picks on this side of the board. I'm going to go James Cook again here. Let's go ahead and get our running back. We need some ceiling at that position if we want to take down this contest. I think James Cook obviously provides that. Rasheed Rice goes. There goes Josh Allen. I'm going to do something a little different here than I have been. I'm going to take Lamar. Haven't gotten any Lamar yet this week, and he's obviously someone I don't want to have zero of. Just the ceiling Lamar brings any given week, he can go for 30. Kind of one of those guys that is matchup proof to a certain degree. I can pull up his head-to-head data against Cleveland. So I think as long as I'm not mistaken, he set some pretty good games against the Cleveland Browns team. Make sure to fire off any fantasy questions you guys got in the chat. I'll get to them. Just me today. No Yash, no Dale. They'll be back for the next stream. It's a little different doing the stream on my own, guys, so bear with me. Usually got some other fellas in here with me, so definitely a different pace having to carry all the talking. We're going to go ahead and get Jaylen Warren here. We're getting him way past ADP, which feels nice. Like the matchup, obviously, against the Bengals. I think this could definitely be a good day for him. Whoa. Gonna put some music on in the background. All right, let's figure out our next pick here. We got to go wide receiver, tight end, based off this build. I'm thinking we want to get Zay Flowers with one of these, pair him up with Lamar, or actually, I might do Mark Andrews, and I'm going to play it through a different wide receiver. I'm thinking with wide receiver, I want to play it with Jordan Addison this week. I really feel good about this spot for Addison and Justin Jefferson, obviously. I think this could be a good week for the both of them, so gonna go ahead and take Addison. Kind of as a hedge on my Jefferson stance too. We've been taking so much Jefferson that might be better for the bags to get some Addison mixed in there. Feel pretty good about this team. We got Lamar, Cook, Warren, Chase, Andrews. Feels pretty nice. Yeah, just deciding on for this next pick here. I think I'm definitely leaning towards Addison since we already got the Mark Andrews stack with Lamar. while we're finishing off this draft, I'm going to go ahead and hop into another one so we don't have to wait too long. All right, so just waiting for the next draft to fill. Feel pretty good about that team. While we wait for this one to fill, let's go on outlier and let me talk through some of the games this week. So I can kind of go through my picks and predictions for some of these games. So first off, obviously we got Patriots Jets tomorrow night. This is a smash spot for the Patriots. Juicy 13.5 spread here. Don't know if I'm necessarily going to be betting that for the Patriots, but I definitely feel like this game could have some value from a player pop perspective for sure. I think I'm going to be looking at some Travion Henderson spots for tomorrow. I feel pretty good about him. Maybe like a longest rush prop, something like that. Let's see how those numbers are looking at, actually. So let's look at Travion Henderson. His touchdown is super juiced to the over right now. That's the only line I'm getting right now, actually. Only got touchdowns up right now. Some passing and stuff. All right, so I'm going to just talk through this game a little more. Jets obviously made some big defensive trades, trading away Quinnen Williams and Sauce Gardner. So this feels like now even more so than it was the beginning of the season. This is a defense we want to continue to target. I think you got to fire up all your Patriots. You're starting Drake May. You're starting Travion Henderson. You can start Henry maybe, but not a tight end I feel great about overall. I think you can play Diggs. I think you can maybe get away with playing Mac Hollins if there's no Kayshon Boutte, but that's not something I would really love to do. It certainly doesn't feel great. I think that's just kind of my overall take on this game. Talking about the next game, we got Commanders Dolphins here. I think I definitely lean Dolphins in this one. The Dolphins, if you haven't been paying attention, they've been way better against the run. Since week 6, they're actually graded out as a top 5 run defense, which is a crazy turn of events from where things stood at the beginning of the season. The public certainly backs me on this one. 80% of money is being put on the Dolphins spread and 74% bets on the money line. The public is loving the Dolphins. I feel great about them too. The Commanders have just been awful these couple weeks, and they've been really struggling, especially when matched against speed. And that's something that this Dolphins team can obviously bring, right? What up, Jason? Good to see you again, bro. Start 4. 1 must be an RB slot, 1 must be a wide receiver, and 2 flexes. You got Vidal, White, Shakir, Sticky Ricky, Ted Aurora, Wandale Robinson. So I think you got to play Vidal. Vidal's the for sure running back. Is Ricky Pearsall going to play? Is that the latest? Let me check on that. If Ricky's playing, I'm probably getting Ricky in there. I think I'd still play Ted Aurora. Even with Rico, I think he's just a better option than Shakir. Rashad White, I'm a little torn on. Rashad White, Shakir. I think White. No, actually, no Kincaid. Give me Shakir. Yeah, so I think I'd go Vidal, Shakir, Ricky, Tet. I'd bench White. The thing about White, I'm just worried about Sean Tucker taking more touches, especially since he just looked like the better running back between the two. The Bills have really struggled against the ground, but I don't feel great about this Bucs ground game, even in a good matchup right now. It doesn't feel great to me. So I think I would lean Shakir. Weighing that one out. Dude, Frizzle, I know it's the same thing in one of my leagues. I had the commissioner actually change it to commissioner approval just so we could get the trade. Yeah, that's real frustrating. AJ asks, DJ Moore still viable on rosters? I just dropped him for Blake Corum, picked up Michael Wilson since Marvin Harrison's out. Honestly, I think DJ Moore is somewhat still worth a roster spot, but I don't really fault you for dropping him. I think Corum is honestly a better stash right now just because we know the ceiling that Corum can potentially bring if there were an injury to Kyron Williams. He's an elite handcuff right now. DJ Moore, we kind of know what we're getting with him, right? I think his time as a Bear is kind of coming to an end. I think he's going to be on his way out of the door next year, so I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of continue to work Luther Burden more into the offense. They're obviously going to prioritize Rome Odunze to him in the pecking order. Now that Loveland is becoming more and more involved, I think it's just he's going to kind of be the odd man out there. So I don't fault you at all for cutting him. We've been kind of out on DJ Moore on our channel the last couple weeks. As for Michael Wilson, there's a lot of vacated targets there with no Marv, obviously. I think he can give you maybe like a flex type of week, but I want to get to it. I'd project him similar to how we've been kind of thinking about Darius Slayton these last couple of weeks. Like, not the most uber talented guy, but just going to be out there running routes, can get a few targets, maybe get a downfield play or two. I think you'd feel better about playing Michael Wilson than DJ Moore this week. I'll say that. Crazy sentence that's being said, but crazy where we've got from DJ Moore being a 3-4 round pick this year. Talking about the next game, we got Bengals Steelers. Now, the Bengals did upset the Steelers the last time these two teams faced off. If you remember, it was a huge game from Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. And just this Bengals offense overall. I actually like the Steelers in this one. I think this is a little bit of a bounce back spot for them after ultimately losing to the Bengals last time they played, and in Pittsburgh, kind of a must-win game for them. Our draft just filled up, so we'll get back to talking the games, but going to hop back in our drafts and get to these questions. AJ, you said Mahomes, Herbo, Cook, Genty, Judkins, McBride, Tyler Warren, Olave, Ricky P. It's a pretty good squad, dude. Mahomes, Herbo. Yeah, I like your team. Is Herbo over Mahomes this week? It's close. For me, yes. I love the matchup against Jacksonville. Jacksonville's been a huge pass funnel this year. Just pretty much every quarterback that has good weapons is just smashed against them this year. I've been drafting more Herbert in these weekly fantasy contests than I have Mahomes, but Mahomes does have a higher ADP. Whoa, Matthew Stafford just went 102. That's wild. Yeah, I would start Herbo over Mahomes. Mahomes still obviously could get there, but obviously not a good matchup on paper. Let me make this pick and I'll get to this questions. Onions. We're going to go Bijan here. We're going to scoop up the Bijan 105 by the dip. There goes McBride. He just keeps going early and earlier. It's okay, though. We're going to get Josh Jacobs, get the double RBs to start. Kind of a unique-ish build here. Let's see. Okay. Dart is my QB1. Bench is Burrow, JD as in Jane Daniels, Zay Golden, Jones Sr., McLaurin, Musgrave, Reed. Who do I drop for Flacco? Who's JD? And I'm assuming Reed at the end is Jaden Reed and Luke Musgrave. Jane Daniels? Yeah, drop Jane Daniels, dude. Or I'm assuming this is redraft, right? If this is your redraft league, Jane Daniels is not coming back this year, so you're fine to drop him. No, I'd hang on to Jaden Reed. I would definitely get rid of Jane Daniels, though. This is a redraft format. Yeah, no problem, AJ. Make sure to drop a like and sub, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. We got a free Discord too that y'all should hop in. Yeah. Jane Daniels is done for the year. No problem. Make sure to drop a like on the stream, y'all. Drop a sub. I'll appreciate it. We got a free Discord in there too. We're always answering any questions and talking fantasy in there all the time. We're starting to build out a nice community in there. Hop in. I encourage it. Ooh, we get Justin Jefferson here. That feels great. I've been wanting to get some later Justin Jefferson. This start feels real nice. We got Bijan, Josh Jacobs, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson is one of my biggest stances on the week. Just really love this matchup against Chicago. Frizzle asks, Jacoby Brissett or Jameis this week? That's a tough one. Let me make this pick and then I'll talk through it a little more. I'm going to go ahead and get Ladd here. We just talked about liking this, targeting this Jack secondary. It's what I would like to do with this Ladd pick. All right, so Jacoby Brissett or Jameis this week. Let's talk through it. So Jameis has the Packers, and Jacoby Brissett has the Niners. I think I would lean Brissett, Frizzle. We've seen what Brissett's done since he's been the starter. He's getting about 20 points every week. I think we can kind of project similar against this Niners defense that has been struggling. We know they're still super injured, especially in that linebacker room. Yeah, that's what I would do. And with Jameis, I don't know if I love this spot for Jameis against the Packers. The way the Packers play defense is a lot of zone, right? A lot of keep everything in front, kind of dare you to dink and dunk your way to beat us. And I just feel like that does not fare well for how Jameis Winston wants to play. We know Jameis is very aggressive. He wants to sling the ball downfield. That's kind of how he's always been. That's who Jameis is. And I could see him throwing a couple picks in this one if he tries to do that against this. Whoa. We just got Lamar like way past ADP here, so I'm gonna have to take Lamar. Whoa, 16 ADP, and we just got Lamar pick 29. That's absolutely insane. We're gonna pair him with Andrews too, and just get the little stack and be done. But yeah, I prefer Brissett for those reasons. Flacco, Jameis, or Brissett? Now, I would go Flacco before Brissett. Drop Bill for who, Frizzle? I don't think he's not doing much for you, but if you're getting anyone of value, then yeah, sure. My bad. Just realized I was muted. This feels like a pretty good squad. We got a lot of upset in this running back room with Bijan Jacobs. Plenty of upside in the wide receiver room as well. Lamar, who's always viable to be QB1 on any given week. Mark Andrews at tight end doesn't feel as good. But when your first 5 picks are this strong, you have to take a hit somewhere. Really like this team. Probably one of my favorite ones I've done so far on the week. We're going to hop in another hurry up. If for the people new here, we did take down this contest last week. We're going to try to go back to back. While we're waiting for it to fill, I can go ahead and show you guys that team that took it down. Just 1 second. All right, so this is our team that took it down for $2,000 last week. Hell of a team. We had Jackson Dart, Jahmyr Gibbs, A-Chain, Rome Odunze, J-Mo, Trey McBride. Just all absolutely smashed guys you needed. J-Mo's the big guy we hit on, only 20% drafted. And then we definitely got like the ceiling outcomes at running back with Gibbs, A-Chain, Dart. There were some other quarterbacks that performed about as well, but Dart was obviously the guy that I had and ended up paying out. And then Rome Odunze, J-Mo got me 37 points from that wide receiver room. A big takeaway I have from this and just playing these in weeks past is you got to have star power at running back. You got to have ceiling in order to win these contests. And that's something I'm really trying to keep in mind when I'm doing these and shooting for every draft. All right, so I think I'm going to do 2 more. I want to do 1 more Battle Royale, 1 more Hurry Up. I'm going to enter these both right now, whatever one fills first. We will join, and then we're going to get out of here. So make sure to fire off any more questions you guys got in the chat. Frizzle, that's a good one. Bill is kind of a locker room cancer right now. I wouldn't blame you for parting ways with him on the bench. That's funny. Pick him up for a good defense to stream this week. Make sure to drop a like and sub. Join the Discord. 100% free to join. In there talking ball all the time. While we're waiting for these to fill, let's go back to Outlier and look at some more of these games on the week. Texans, Titans, obviously huge edge to the Texans. Not too many pieces I'm really interested in for fantasy in this one. I think you're still playing Nico, obviously. Softer matchup. The only worry with him is its blowout potential, so they don't really need to throw the ball a lot. I would say Woody Marks is a good play. He has a great matchup, obviously, and is a little more game script proof in the fact that if it is a blowout, him being a rookie running back, he's still going to get plenty of touches. We've seen last week Woody Marks earned the start over Chubb and started the first play of the first 7 drives for this Texans team. We're seeing him take over this backfield now for Nick Chubb like we've been waiting for. I think we're going to see some really, really solid performances from Marks down the stretch here in this season. Feel great about playing in this week against this Titans team. All right, next we got Chargers, Jags. Like this spot for the Chargers. Another one where the public money is on the same side that I am for sure. We know Jags have really struggled through the air. We know with the Chargers that that's what they want to do. It has looked a little different these last couple of weeks with how injured they've been. It's been a lot more underneath stuff than over the top like we were accustomed to when they did have that O-line a little bit healthier. but I think we could still see some really solid fantasy performances from those wide receivers, particularly Lad McConkey. All right, our draft has filled, so we're going to hop in this one. Pull it up here. We landed on the 103 here. So it's an interesting place to be. I like taking Bijan here. I don't mind taking McBride again, flipping the board. It seems like every time you pass on McBride, he's gone by the next time you're picking. Just has such a good chance to separate at the tight end position this week, in my opinion. Would love to get CMC or Chase 103, but that doesn't tend to happen often. Make sure to fire off any questions in the chat, y'all. Appreciate it. We do not get... I'm going to go ahead and get JSN. Just not a guy I want to full fade, and I've kind of been taking some other guys if I had the chance to take JSN. So we're going to take Jackson Smith in Jigba there. Frizzle, I think so. I think Ramondre will still be somewhat involved, but I think it's kind of one of those things that the cat's out of the bag night. They're not going to put it back. I think I was talking about this same thing on stream yesterday where I was saying how up until this point, while we know Travion Henderson's explosive, we'd known that he has a higher ceiling. We've thought he was more talented than Ramondre Stevenson. He hadn't really shown it yet this season. He was yet to break off a big run. He was yet to really make that game-breaking play. And this week we saw him just absolutely snap in the second half and make 2 game-breaking runs. And I think that now that he's made those plays, he's kind of proved himself in a way. I think with kind of like a more old school style of coaching staff that Mike Vrabel brings, I think they're kind of like a believe it when I see it type of coaching staff. So I think that that performance will go a long way for him in helping him earn that full-time role. I think when Stevenson comes back, we can still expect 60, 40, 50, 50. But I think Henderson's the type of guy that you also don't really need him getting 20 touches a game to be fantasy viable. Mega Brick asks, full PPR, start Metcalf or QJ? That's a tough one, dude. I'm thinking about this. Take Rashee Rice here. I lean QJ, actually. We've seen with the Bengals defense, Steelers, even last time when they played the Bengals have a really good corner, DJ Turner. He typically matches up with wide receiver ones on the other teams. And if I'm an offensive coordinator, right, and this defense is pretty much all not good besides one player, I'm going to target the 10 players who aren't very good, right? And that's kind of the approach that we've been seeing, put simply, to a lot of offenses. We're seeing the slot guys. We're seeing the tight ends get there. I think this will just be kind of a good spot for Jaylen Warren, maybe some tight ends, maybe take some shots on Pat Freiermuth. He has another big week against them. And then QJ, on the other hand, has a great matchup against the Jaguars. I'd lean QJ. All right, looking at this next pick here, I would love to get Kittle. But now that I said that he's going to be gone, if Kittle goes, we'll go ahead and take Mahomes and pair him with Rashee Rice. Tough matchup against the Broncos, but sometimes great players can be matchup proof. There goes Kittle, unfortunately. No, I don't think so, Frizzle. I'm kind of out on Stevenson. quite frankly. Start Dallas defense, 49ers, or Atlanta. I would go Atlanta. Their defense has been playing really well as of late, sneakily. I mean, I say that after Jonathan Taylor just went for 280 yards, but up until the fourth quarter in that one, like they were doing relatively okay on him. And obviously it's more Jonathan Taylor, I think, than a negative on the Falcons defense. No one is really stopping him. And against the Panthers team, I could see them getting to Bryce Young. I can see some sacks. I could see maybe an interception in there too. Give me the Falcons. All right, so needing a running back or tight end here. Don't know if I want to go Kelsey. I think I want to go ahead and get... Looking at Chase Brown here, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Take Chase Brown for tight end. I think have a couple guys in mind. I like Gadsden if he plays, like Schultz, like Pitts, like Andrews, but I've been taking him. Like Loveland, Fannin, Freiermuth. Freiermuth is kind of a fun one. We did see him go for 25 points last time they played the Bengals. Don't know if he'll quite do that again. I think that was a little bit fluky. So I don't know if I want to take him in this style format. Maybe more of like a DFS guy than an underdog draft sort of guy. All right. The other draft we entered is almost filled, so we'll wait for that one to fill, hop in that one, and then we'll be getting out of here. Appreciate y'all that tuned in today. You really chill stream. Kelsey's actually still available, so this might be the time to take Kelsey. Never mind. We'll take Pitts. Why not? All right, and then our other draft actually just filled. Looks like we landed the 104 in this one. Share that tab with y'all. And this is going to be the last one before we get out of here. So fire off any last minute questions. I'll get to them before I dip. Frizzle said, should I get rid of CD or Drake London to get an RB upgrade? Or just ride out rest of the season with Brees and Woody as my running back 1 and 2? Honestly, I just hang on to CD and London, dude. They're just giving you so much ceiling right now. And if you're moving them, like, it's probably going to be a lateral move. I think Brees and Woody are fine. Obviously, they're not ideal, but either way, you're going to pay some sort of weakness. I think you're fine with that, Frizzle. I think CD and London are so good, and I value them so highly rest of the season that I just roll with them. All right. So we got our choice of Bijan, Puka, Jacobs. I think I want to go Puka this time. Get a Puka share. I can make an argument for any of these guys on the turn right here, in all honesty. So I would rather just play it where I'm getting exposed to all of them than making a consolidated bet on one of these guys. I'd love to get... I'm not going to say it. Oh, yes. Get a Trey McBride share with Puka. Feels good. We haven't been getting much McBride. With Drake Manley. That's a funny team name. You should change it to that. Drake May, top 5 fantasy QB schedule rest of season, by the way. Drop a like and sub, y'all. Join the Discord. Drop any last minute questions before we get out of here. This will be the last draft we're doing today. We're doing these on Underdog Fantasy. Took home this contest last week for $2,000. Trying to go back to back. DFS champion over here. Justin Jefferson just keeps going earlier and earlier in these. Just such a good spot for him this week, I think. There goes Jalen Warren and James Cook, of course, the two guys that I was targeting. We're going to go ahead and get Derrick Henry. I haven't been taking any of him, but obviously with Derrick Henry, he does have the ceiling to break the slate any given week. What's up, Mr. Magic? Good to see you, dude. Fire off any fantasy questions you got, man. I'll get to them before we get out of here. Drop a like on the stream, y'all. Drop a sub. We're getting all questions today. Talking some ball. All right, next pick here. So we have Henry, Nakua, McBride. I have two guys eyed here. I think we're going to get our choice. All right, got a couple questions here. Let me make my pick, and then I'll answer these. We're going to get Ladd McConkey. All right. Juan said, would you trade Zach Charbonnet for T. Higgins? Yes. I got Jonathan Taylor, Jacobs. You'd be acquiring T. Higgins, I'm assuming, right? If that's the case, then yes. I don't love Charbonnet rest of the season. You have a decent wide receiver room as it is right now, but I think you're pretty set at running backs already with JT, Jacobs, Hendo. I would go and get T. Higgins if that's a move you can make. Mr. Magic in a start 8 PPR league. My QB is Knicks, Dart, running backs, Brown, Mason, Hendo, Marks, Judkins, wide receiver CD London, Tez, Keenan, tight end Kittle. Who should I package to running back? Upgraded at running back, wide receiver. Okay, this is a lot to unpack. Let me make my picks, and then I got you, Mr. Magic. We're gonna try. Yeah, we're gonna try this. We're gonna do the double Rams thing. We're going to get Puka, Adams, and they're going to finish it off with Stafford. And that's going to be this team. Okay. And now I can fully avert my attention into this question. All right. So I would say you're good at QB. Just hang on to those two guys. You got Chase Brown, Jordan Mason, Hendo, Marks, Judkins. Mason is honestly a drop for me at this point. You can package him into whatever deal. Keenan, I'm pretty worried about rest of the season as well. You could try some like snake oil sort of deals where you're offering like Jordan Mason and Keenan for some kind of lower level guys. Try to get someone to buy on something like that. Might be your best way to approach it. But there's kind of a couple things you could do. You could be looking at, let me pull up my wide receiver tiers for you and we can kind of go through some names. So I haven't fully updated these. These are kind of what I had last week. But I think Alec Pierce is someone I'm moving up. You can maybe go and try to get Alec Pierce for cheap. I kind of like his rest of season outlook. You got Jameson Williams could be a target. DJ Moore, someone I need to lower. For sure. He's probably more in this tier now. Jawan Jennings is someone that I feel pretty bullish on rest of the season, and they have a pretty cheap price tag. So Jawan Jennings might be a good target for you. Yeah, I don't know. Send any more question or any more details on that situation. I can keep talking through it. Juan asked for his wide receiver 1, 2, 3 flex spot. Devontae Adams, you're playing him. I think you asked the same question yesterday. So I'd go Addison, QJ, Adams if he plays, and yeah, Addison, not Jacoby, QJ. Give me Debo. It's between Debo and Tez for that last spot for me. But I think I lean Debo. Just a little bit of a softer matchup against Miami. If Adams were to not play, I'd go Tez. And I think I prefer all those wide receivers to Charbonnet and DeMarcado. QB1, Bo Nix, CJ Stroud, Jacoby. For this week, give me Flacco. I like Flacco. I like Brissett for this week. Who would you rather start, Tez or Michael Carter with the Marv Harrison news? Give me Tez. I don't want to start any Cardinals running backs right now, to be honest with you. Atlanta, good to see you in here, bro. Should I buy low on guys like BTJ, Pittman, Odunze, AJ Brown? I'd say Pittman and Odunze I'd be fine with buying, but BTJ probably not, just because I'm kind of worried about the injury. Like, there hasn't been much reporting around it, so it's kind of uncertain how much time he's going to miss. And then AJ Brown, just someone I don't want to touch right now, to be honest. Who do you think are my starters, though, moving forward? 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 wide receiver, 2 flex tight end. Okay, I got you. Let me see. You're gonna start Dart most weeks, right? But obviously Knicks this week with Dart missing. Honestly, if like Jacoby Brissett's on your waivers, I might feel better about playing him than I would Bo Nix this week against the Chiefs. I think your running backs are gonna be some form of Brown, Hendo, Mark, Judkins, just kind of matchup based. This week, I would probably roll with Hendo, Marks, Chase Brown. Wide receivers, CD London, you're starting every week. And then I would be flexing probably. Oh, you have 2 flexes. So yeah, I'd start all 4 of your running backs. I'd start CD in London and then Kittle. Yeah, if it's 2 flex league rather than 3 wide receivers, I feel a lot better about your team, actually, because I think you have 4 pretty good running backs with Brown, Hendo, Marks, Judkins. I would just be trying to package Mason and Keenan for a slight upgrade at either position, preferably a wide receiver. Purdy, Flacco, Rodgers. If you can afford, I wouldn't hate dropping Jordan Mason or just dropping. Probably drop Jordan Mason for Flacco. Or if you could stash Dart on your IR and roll with Flacco this week, I feel better about playing him than I do Bo Nix. Bo Nix has been he's been getting there for fantasy, but like eye test wise, I just can't stand watching Bo Nix, to be completely honest with you. Trying to pull up Bo Nix's lines to see if that's a crazy take. So, in 2 games against the Chiefs, this is what Bo Nix has done. I can share this with you all. So Bo Nix actually has done really well against the Chiefs in 2 games, I guess. Not so much the second game, but in that home game, he did go for 321 and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, that's what I'm just looking at. It might be better to play Nix then. Maybe just roll with your guy. Play Nix. Flacco also did well last time against the Steelers too, so you could play it both sides. And I just overall feel better about that Bengals offense and the game environment. I think the projections on the total is higher for that game. Let me see. Yeah, the total for Bengals Steelers is 48.5, and right now the Broncos Chiefs is 44.5. So it just kind of depends on how you want to play it. Yeah, he does, but I just like the matchup better for Flacco. But you can also argue like the long-term aspect of Nick's on your team is why you might be fine holding him. I think the Chiefs are actually pretty good against QB running too this year. Let me look more into that. Make sure I'm not talking out of my ass. All right. So I'll look a little more at this Chiefs Broncos insight. I just think this Chiefs defense is pretty good. Dart will play again this season. He's gonna miss this week, maybe another, but he'll be back this year. It's a concussion. It shouldn't be anything super crazy, unless it's a really bad concussion. I doubt the Giants shut him down. He's the rookie quarterback. They want to get him looks. Yeah, I'm thinking to myself a little more about this Bo Nix Flacco thing. It's pretty similar range of start for me this week. I just lean Flacco. I'm going to stand on that. All right. If you guys have any other last minute questions, fire them off right now before I get out of here. Appreciate y'all that hopped in. Make sure to drop a like on the stream, sub to the channel. We'll probably go live tomorrow before the Thursday night game, talking our best picks for that game and just some more weekly / seasonal outlooks, that sort of thing. Appreciate y'all. All right. Doesn't seem like there's any more questions to get to. I'm going to get out of here. Oh, I actually got one more. I got you, ATL, before I get out of here. Looking ahead to Week 12, who would you stream, Brissett or Darnold? Needing to stream for Herbert bye. Let's look at the matchups for Week 12. Darnold has the Titans in Week 12, and Brissett has the Jags. Probably give me Brissett just because I see that game environment being a little better. I know the Titans look really nice on paper, but it could just be a similar. Like, this Seattle defense is so good that that game could just be extremely out of hand real quick to where they just don't have to throw the ball at all. And Jacksonville is a major pass funnel, like we know. I think in a nutshell, I'd rather have Darnold over Brissett, like matchups aside. But with those matchups, I think I prefer Brissett in Week 12. We'll be streaming tomorrow, likely with two of my other co-hosts as well, and we'll just be talking through anything NFL. We stream typically about this time. It kind of fluctuates. Make sure to hop in the Discord, bro. We notify in the Discord every time we're going live, and just if you have any questions at any point, you can ask us in there and we'll get to them. It's free to join. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, the Jags, they've really struggled through the air. They're just a major pass funnel right now, and I'm going to keep attacking them with quarterbacks and with wide receivers, pass catchers, until they show us otherwise. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Make sure to drop a like, sub to the channel. Appreciate it, y'all. Really chill stream today. Glad I got to hop on, talk some ball. I'll see y'all later. Peace.